live from New York City, the liberal democracy tears. I wanted to get this. I love this book in high school. They had it at the Grandview Library. And I checked it out a bunch of times. It's nice pictures, nice coffee table book about Truffaut here. So literature survives. Day one, the new America. I mean, was Halloween the last party? Is that why people were partying so hard on Halloween this year? Because they instinctually knew what was at stake. Even though we all kind of just like walked into this, I feel. We didn't really expect this. Even though, I don't know, it's a shock, but it's not that big of a surprise. But, we've been through it once before. The mood in New York, it's very quiet. I heard a guy just say, it's like a funeral over here. There's this guy who's got, the MAGA people are like stoked. They're all wearing their fucking outfits and shit, their merch, their branded merch. I don't know if the Kamala people would be doing the same. I don't know that they have, quite so much apparel. So yeah, we're just gonna unpack what happened, the new national mood, what's next, moving forward. Because we have sort of been through this once before. I don't know, I'm bummed about it, and God knows what's gonna happen, but I have, having lived this one time, I don't want it to completely define my fucking life like it did from 2016 to 2020, it felt like. And in a certain way, I think we can learn from the mistakes, and in a certain way, I think this election is a lesson in what those mistakes are. I think the biggest surprise is she did worse than Biden, like, everywhere. People were so enthusiastic when Biden stepped down. We thought, oh, she'll definitely do better than Biden. And not only did she do worse, but there's kind of concerning signs or indications that the parties are sort of shifting, in that a lot of young people voted for Trump. More Gen Z people voted for Trump than Biden, which is kind of a shock, I think. Or than they did during the 2020. His numbers went up amongst young people, which is, traditionally, right, the Democrats always win young people. It's like the conservatives are the old people. People get more conservative as they age. So that's kind of a troubling sign. And I think it has to indicate to the left, was there a bunch of Gen Z kids that were like, oh, we're not going to vote for Kamala because of Israel, because we're so obsessed with Palestine, we're not going to vote for the Democrats? Like, maybe. Honestly, I don't think that that's what it is. Even though I think the left has been trained to be apathetic and dispassionate, and the Israel issue is like such a divisive thing to the people on the left. But I don't necessarily think that's why Gen Z people are voting for fucking Trump. We'll get into that. We'll unpack, reasons why that might be. But the other poll numbers that are kind of... see this guy. This guy's like a Trump guy. He's got his MAGA hat and his fucking shirt. He's got his fucking bulldogs with him. Just in case any libtards try to start any shit. His fucking dogs will tear him to pieces. So aggro. The Trump people are so fucking aggro. That's scary. It's scary to see the bullies encouraged and jazzed and they're emboldened. You know, now they think they can get in your face and be like, yeah, oh, it's like a funeral out here. Liberal tears, I'm drinking them up. Okay, but the other thing, and you know, to be honest, I think it's fake. I think they stole the election. Legitimately, I think they stole the election. I don't believe the numbers. But for argument's sake, we will pretend that it's real. I mean, okay, I mean, it's not unbelievable, to be honest. You know, like anybody that's like shocked by this, I think is really just not paying attention. They're really not paying attention to what's really going on. And that includes, I guess, the liberal media, so-called. The fact that they get it this wrong again and again, you know, this is part of the reason why people are ready to just throw the fucking liberal media away, why they distrust it, because they clearly don't know what the hell they're talking about. And the fact that they report it as if Kamala was going to win in a landslide does indicate probably what they want to believe, which I think a lot of America is frustrated by. You know, I would say, you know, social media in general, but I would say probably fucking TikTok and podcasts. You know, this is one reason why I'm on fucking YouTube. And it's one thing that I chronically have fucking talked about on here. Is just like, there's all these fucking young men that the Democratic Party, the left wing, has been pointing their finger at. These dudes are on fucking YouTube. They're watching Theo Vaughn. You know, they're watching fucking Andrew Schultz. They're watching fucking Tim Dillon. All these guys are bankrolled by Peter Thiel. Casa next door. Nice. I wonder if they got that because of TikTok. You know, TikTok is shaping the real fucking world. That's one reason why I talk about it so much and why I'm on it. Because you're not just getting mainstream news video stuff. You're seeing every goddamn point of view you can think of. And, you know, I mean, there was YouTube videos I was watching. I forget what it was in the days running up to the election. And there was like an online poll. Maybe it was Tim Dillon or something. I don't know. I don't remember. Some YouTube video I was watching had an online poll. Who are you going to vote for, Kamala or Trump? And of course I voted. And it was like 80% Trump. And I'm like, now that's probably bots. That's probably dead internet. That's probably a hacker or something that did that. But it's also like, what if it wasn't? You know, I sort of dismissed it like, but it was also kind of a worrying sign. You know, like if you're on the internet, you see comment section, you see the way that people are actually, and like I said, I sort of just thought it was bots or something. But, you know, I think a lot of the Trump voters are like fucking Dwight Schrute or something. They're sort of like these tactical, your average Trump voter is probably like Dwight Schrute. Where it's like, they're sort of tactical, they're thinking about life like it's some kind of army exercise or some kind of tactical. And so they're sort of hiding. Right? These polls, I think that's one reason why these polls are so fucking inaccurate. Because the Trump people are kind of silent. They've learned to strategize. You know, they've been Trumpers for almost a decade at this fucking point. They've had to live with it. They haven't changed their minds. You know, they just get more and more into the guy. And, they learn to keep their mouths shut, you know, but even as they secretly are super stoked and, You know, they've got Trump fucking t-shirts and hats and shit that they like to put on in the privacy of their own home in secret or something. And so I think they learn to kind of like lie to the polls or withhold their information so that they can't get accurate data. You know, although I gotta say, you know, like I saw a couple TikTok videos, and like I said, maybe it's TikTok, maybe just fake, but it's like they were going up and asking people who they're gonna vote for, right? That's all. In like a fucking Walmart or something. And most of the people said fucking Trump. The people that said Kamala were like kind of like frightened women. Which I understand. And I'm sympathetic. That's why I voted for her. But I think one of the important takeaways from this election is I don't think you can really just blame men, okay? Like or white people. The first time Trump got elected, I think white people felt guilt. Any liberal white person just felt like, oh, this racist man, how did this happen? We got Adolf Hitler as fucking president. I've done everything I can to be a good person. So I blame myself, or it's white people's fault, it's crazy, racist. And it's like, the demographics that won him this election were minorities that were swing voters. Latino men, Hispanic men voted for Trump in unexpected... New York City, black men, right, swung for Trump in a really unexpected way that's not typical. You know, the Democrats just kind of take for granted, like, oh, if you're a minority, you have to vote for us. What are you going to do? You're going to vote for Republicans and, like... just people don't buy the narrative anymore that, like, the Democrats are like, on the side of... I guess poor people or working people. You know, it's like they go so hard for the identity stuff. It's not about class, it's not about unions, it's about optics, it's about guilt. And you can't motivate people with that. You cannot motivate people through shame and guilt. I mean, you can, but it doesn't work. It's a negative emotion. People don't want to feel that. You know, Trump makes people feel good. The really sick people get really stoked about his hurting people's feelings and behaving like a fucking bully and being an insult comic. The president as insult comic. Okay, love you, Ashley. See you in a little while. New York City, only 68% of New York City voted for Kamala. I think everybody that lives in New York should take a fucking... Which is not really a surprise in a way because, like, dude, I go to comedy open mics. You know, I see what real people, you know, a lot of these, all of the comedians, to be honest, all of the male comedians are Trumpers, pretty much exclusively. It's something they have in common. And that includes, sort of, maybe to one's surprise, the black comedians and the other people of color, comedians of color. They're Trumpers. And they live in New York. They're from fucking New York. You know, they're from fucking Queens or Canarsie or something, or Staten Island or the Bronx. And they like that he's a gangster. You know, they like that he's fucking Scarface. Or at least that's their conception of it. They think that he's just like the fucking roast master. And he's just gonna zing people. And he's strong. And he's funny. So those people are really happy. And it is almost exclusively gendered. That's what's weird about it. You know, like black men, Hispanic men are not voting for Democrats. They were not voting for Kamala. Is that misogyny? It's not necessarily coming from white people. You know, I think that the takeaway in 2016 was blame white people. Blame racist white people, blame white supremacy. I don't think you can say that after this election. And I think, not that I'm blaming minorities or anything, but this narrative clearly doesn't work. And to be honest, it's not useful. This idea that like, oh, you have to be motivated by like not being a racist. It's just like we can tell that it's like some kind of brainwashing, and it's alienating us from each other. I'm really worried about gender relations. I'm worried that women are just going to hate us. Women are going to look at this and be like, go right back to where we were in 2017, where it's like, oh, it's the Handmaid's Tale, and men are trash. And what I'm really fucking not stoked about is hearing a bunch of goddamn sanctimonious poetry about it. It's going to ruin poetry. And I'm just not going to do it again. You know what I mean? We've seen that. I think maybe this is a bold pronouncement, but I think you have to kind of look at this like woke politics does not work. Eric Adams got brought down. He's corrupt. Kamala's sort of a different version of the same thing in a way. Not that she's doing what he was doing, but like, it's just like, hey, you're supposed to vote for this person because they're black and they're female. And Kamala was like this arranged choice. She didn't even get 1% in the primary when she did run, right? So nobody really, you can't really blame her. But, she was in and out of there quick. It's probably pretty painless, It's like she hasn't even been campaigning that long. Hillary is like, she ran in 2008. Hillary had been campaigning for like a fucking decade. When she lost, Kamala had only been campaigning for like 100 days or something. It's like, it's not a huge disappointment to her. She pretty much got fast-tracked to the nomination. And it really didn't work. And so, I don't know. I don't think the left is going to, like, rethink that. For better or for worse, the Republicans' work is done for them because Trump totally reimagined their party for them. They were equally kind of, like, boring and kind of outdated and, like, using these kind of methods that, like, were uninspiring, trying to control people, kind of trying to brainwash people. Trump made it exciting. He made it entertaining. He made it, their politics. He made it seem like the Republicans are like the peace party. Like, how the fuck did that happen? People think, oh, we avoided World War III. Because thank God Trump got elected. He's going to stop these wars. Within a week. Within a week, these wars are going to be over. I just don't buy that. I saw somebody say Trump was the only president during our lifetime that didn't like start a war or something, or like. It's like, that's not. He's not like he didn't end the fucking wars. He did not pull out of Afghanistan. That was Biden. Trump maybe didn't, like, start a new Afghanistan or a new Iraq or something, but, like, he continued the wars just like Obama did. He's not any less guilty than Obama is. People like to fucking characterize Obama like he's this war criminal who drone struck everybody, and he's like, when you hear people mention neoliberal, it's like, oh, it's Obama, the Clintons, and Bush. It's like, what? Bush started the fucking wars. Bush was 9/11. Obama, he may have done drone strikes and shit like that, but so did Trump. Don't act like Trump just was like, fucking, Mahatma Gandhi, you know, there's no way you're going to convince me that Trump is a better, like, more peaceful candidate. I think that's an illusion, and it's an illusion they've spent a lot of money and care creating. And I think that is what a lot of Gen Z people think. I think a lot of Gen Z people think, like, Democrats are neoliberals. They're the status quo. They're like American imperialism. Trump is like gonna go in and, you know, he's not like these other politicians where it's just like, you know, I will say this. I'm sure Israel wanted Trump to win. And in a certain way, maybe it's that fucking simple. You know, people think that the Democrats are like super enabling the genocide, and maybe they're not doing everything they can to fucking stop it. And maybe they're doing a piss poor job of you know, they're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, they're sending billions of dollars to Israel and aid and shit. This is bad. I don't think Trump is like the candidate of like, oh, we're gonna stop that. You know, he's Mr. Israel. He's the one that fucking, you know, moved the capital to Jerusalem, officially recognized it. There's a fucking town in Israel named after him because Netanyahu loves him so goddamn much. You know, Netanyahu is Jared Kushner's godfather. So it's like Trump is probably the most pro-fucking Israel person you could have, to be honest. He'll give them anything they want. I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to get into a war with Iran, to be honest. That seems like probably the next thing they want. I mean, Israel is already more or less attacking them. Is that going to stop? You know, when Trump becomes president? We'll see. You know, this is not like the first time where it's like he's coming into an Obama stability, strength, economy, and just like culture. It's like he's coming in, there's these really, you know, the world is a fucking tinderbox right now. You know, there's these really touchy situations in Ukraine and in the Middle East. And he's coming into that situation. So people have this idea in their head that he's like this tough negotiator and blah, 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 and he's going to get there and just like apprentice this shit like he's fucking in the boardroom or something. But, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, we lived through it once. I think, you know, we have to kind of look at the first Trump presidency, like as a white person, you felt like I said, you felt like this is my fault. How did this happen? How can I do you know, it was really, and, you know, it wasn't like our introduction to the idea of like white supremacy and privilege and shit like that, but it made it like the overriding fucking factor in any goddamn conversation. Was just like, everything is about white supremacists, toxic masculinity, as a complete reaction to Trump, because he represented all of those fucking things. But you know, I think one reason why Gen Z or Latino males or black men voted for Trump is because they see through the identity politics thing. It doesn't help them, or I don't know, it's condescending or patronizing or another kind of control. They just don't, it doesn't feel authentic to them. I don't know, it doesn't work for them. And it's like, that's who it's for, you know? It's meant, I guess, or is it, it seems like that's part of what sucks about it, is it seems like it's supposed to be for them. Like, we're gonna do all this woke bullshit because it'll make them happier, but it's like, it's more about making the people in positions of power and privilege feel like they're doing the right thing. They're not actually listening to like the response. In fact, they're alienating a lot of people because they're telling a lot of people that they're the problem. You're a racist. You're a fucking sexist. You're a white, privileged, and, you know, Gen Z was supposed to be the most woke of anybody, right? Like, they're supposed to be the all fucking super, you know, Chapel Rowan Pink Pony Club and shit. And it's like, well, we're not seeing that either. You know, they voted for Trump in a way that no fucking young people have ever voted for Republicans. Like, how the fuck did that happen? You know? Like, part of it is just like the Democrats are not edgy or cool. You know, woke stuff feels so like forced. It feels like, you know, put upon, you're putting that upon people. You're blaming for people for something they didn't do. You know, you're motivating people by shame and guilt as a way to, like, you got to get out and vote for this candidate they don't want. Hillary, who's just a, you know, Kamala, I think we all knew was going to be like a figurehead for fucking the DNC. The MSDNC. And people kind of knew it was going to be the same thing as Hillary or Biden or whatever. You know, Trump completely busted the Republican, took over their whole fucking party and made them viable, you know, in a way that they probably weren't going to be. You know, the fact that he is able to get people to think that the Republicans are like the anti-war party after 8 years of George W. Bush is fucking insane. The way that he's gotten the Democrats to sort of own those wars is nuts. Okay, here's the poetry spot. So yeah, part of what I'm afraid of is just poetry is going to get bad again. Or it's been bad, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know how I'm sure that these cultural communities we've made for ourselves are going to be sources of strength and unity and places we can go. You know, like, it's good that we have this infrastructure of fucking open mics and shit like that, because that's solidarity. You know, that's organization. It gives us a place where we can go to listen to each other, to be with each other. You know, I think the first time Trump got elected as a white person, it was just like, you know what? I'm gonna listen. You know, I'm a white male, I'm heterosexual, I'm cis. You know, I'm gonna sort of sit on the sidelines and just observe, let other people sort of lead, and just try to learn. You know, learn about privilege, learn about, and you know, and I think a lot of fucking educated, you know, the professional managerial class, these are the people that wokeness has sort of become part of their just code of conduct. But like I said, it's just like something they're doing for themselves. It's not working. You know, it didn't work. You know, people voted for Kamala less than the white old man. I'm not saying that we need to nominate white people for the rest of our lives, but I'm saying it's like, you know, people have this idea in their heads like America's a meritocracy, and so they have to experience it. You know, you have to win their vote. If they're going to get up and go to the polls, like Trump has done that. How many experiences has Trump given people? You know, he got shot, he pumped his fist, his ear. You know, it's just like the dude is there's so many reasons why people are going to be like endeared to the guy. He's like Hitler. He's a mass media entertainer, you know, and he's persuasive. The Democrats are not persuasive in any way. They tell you you're bad, you have to vote for us, or else you're a fucking racist, and you're a racist anyway. Because you're white. Just the fact that you're white makes you a racist. It's like, that's not really gonna win with anybody, you know? I mean, educated, sensitive people are like myself, you know, like I've spent most of the time after 2016 just trying to support and not be another white person in control now that Trump is back in power somehow, you know, we were ready to put this behind us. It's just like the first time. It's just a little bit less, you know, we're a little bit more sensitive to it and ready for it, I guess, or I don't know. It's, you know, we've been through it once before. So the effect is not, you know, we have a tolerance. We have a little bit of a Trump tolerance. Not a huge one, but I'm not really like shitting my pants in fear. Is that a privileged thing to say? I mean, I saw somebody on Instagram was like, you know, they're already coming out with the like, oh, it's skin privilege and this and that. It's like, if you look at the data, that's just not true. You know, it's not suburban white women that elected Trump. It is people that are supposed to vote for the Democrats because they're minorities and they're just supposed to do what we tell them to do. Like, that's just condescending. You know, of course they're going to resist that. And Trump, he's innovative in his campaigning style. He's getting people in there, you know, who have an expertise in the new media, you know, business people, data people, Cambridge Analytica last election, right? People like Elon Musk, people, you know, who owns fucking Twitter. He literally can just completely decide what people are going to see. I'm sure that influences the goddamn election. You know, you want to talk about election interference. How about owning fucking Twitter? And the guy who owns Twitter is campaigning for Trump, donated $130 million to his campaign. I'm dark gothic Kamala, by the way. I'm dark gothic DNC. I wish one of these celebrity Democrats would run for president. It's always a fucking Republican. It's always Schwarzenegger or Trump. It's like, why didn't Warren Beatty run? Why didn't somebody with some fucking charisma and some sex appeal? You know, it's like the Democrats are still running a 20th century campaign like they're fucking they're listening to James Carville. It's like I see James Carville on every fucking MSDNC. It's like, why are you listening to this old motherfucker? You know, he hasn't been a part of a successful campaign in over 30 fucking years. Like, get somebody young and relevant. You know, these fucking streamers, you know. How does Trump even know who the fuck these people are? Because of Barron, right? Barron is on NYU campus. So, okay, so I think this is something I do want to talk about. Part of the big news here is New York is more Republican than it was. You know, we have to look around us. And it's a different city. It's not just this liberal fucking 80% Democrat. It's 68%. That's all. In New York City. That's all the vote that Kamala got. I'm pretty sure it's like normally probably 80% Democrat. I don't know exactly what the statistics are. But it's like, this is another thing I've harped on my show. Is like New York is a city for the wealthy. Like these people in the West Village, these finance bros, these people who can afford to live here, trust fund kids, they're all Trumpers. They're all right because they are rich. You know, they don't want an inheritance. They're like Trump. You know, they come from these big wealthy families. There's no inheritance tax. There's no wealth tax. So they bought New York. They bought Manhattan. I mean, Manhattan is a right-wing place now in a crazy fucking way because there's no working class here. No one has fought for the working class, right? They outsource the jobs. The DNC has decided to lead with identity politics, which don't really have substance, to be honest. I mean, it's important. Representation and things like that are important. You know, like, but there has to be something underneath it. And it's condescending to people to give them something that they don't even know how they got it, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to 4 years. He said 4 years. You know, there's a 2-term limit. I don't really think, you know, like the Democrats really love to shit their pants and run their fucking mouths about Trump wants to be a dictator, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. It's like, we lived through it once. I mean, granted, January 6th was very bad, but it's like, he did leave, you know? Let's not start shitting our pants about, oh, the guy's going to be a dictator and he's going to be president forever. Like, this is very bad. But, like, I think just, like, being nihilistic about it, like, the first time, and just have everybody spiral into these, like, finger-pointing, self-righteous, you know, like, I'm already sick of the social media politics. Like, it amped up immediately. People are already sharing fucking memes about white supremacy and misogyny and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it didn't work the first time. Let's not do this again, okay? Let's not just divide everybody into all these little fucking subgroups and have women hate men. I don't think it's that simple. You know, to be honest, it isn't as simple as, like, it's misogynistic. I know that I've said that a lot on my fucking YouTube, and there definitely is, like, a large element of misogyny. But it's like, they try to force a fucking candidate down people's throats. You have to earn it, you know? Trump has provided people with countless hours of entertainment. What has Kamala done? You know, according to popular consensus, she's the most unpopular vice president ever. So why, you know, what... You know, we live in, like, this data-driven age, and the Democrats are supposed to be the party of science, and they trust the polls and shit, and look where it gets us. You know, like, maybe we shouldn't just, like, look at data for fucking everything, and trust numbers, and, you know, like, a lot of people trust their fucking intuition. That's why they voted for Trump. You know, the Republicans give people a gut feeling. Democrats, it's just a bunch of fucking statistics. It's like, you have to have an actor. You know, you have to have a character. You have to have a performer. Like, our politics are entertainment now. It's a fucking TV show. It's memes. It's social media fucking posts. This is something I've bitched about chronically on my live stream. It's like, where are all the liberal live streamers? You know, it's like, we've got Theo Vaughn, we've got Tim Dillon, we've got Joe Rogan. We have all these fucking meathead right-wing people on YouTube. You know, Twitch. I would say probably Twitch is a big influence on the election. You know, this is where young men are spending their time. They're spending their time on fucking Twitch. And in these, just like, in the manosphere. And they've been abandoned and told that they're the fucking bad guy by the left wing. And women hate men, and, you know, it's like Lysistrata for the last fucking 8 years. People are just starting to have sex again. You know, the last 2 years, there was sort of a thawing of the great hatred of masculinity. And I don't want to go back to that. I don't think we should go back to that. It didn't work the first time. It just annoys the shit out of everybody. It makes everybody feel like shit. Like, I'm just not going to do it. You know, I'm not going to, like, go out of my way. You know, like, I was listening to this podcast. Like, we can't look at Trumpers as, like, these psycho outliers anymore. They're a part of America. They're part of who we are. For better or for worse. You know, and like, okay, like in my own personal life, it's like, I know a lot of people that are Trumpers. You know, it's like, am I going to stop talking to these people? Like, no. You know, like, I know they've been Trumpers. Like, it didn't work the first time, you know? It only made them stronger. And so I'm not saying you have to reach across the aisle, but like, people are people, you know? We are all unified whether we like it or not, you know? You know, that's one of the worst things about Trump is he's enhanced these divisions between everybody. But woke politics was just like an inverted mirror version of that. It was just like a reflection of that division. You know, it's like, it was equally divisive in its own way. And, you know, I said it before, but like, I do think to some degree it's a cynical take, but like the minorities do benefit from having Trump as president. Because, all the white people in the white collar jobs get scared and they have to virtue signal by hiring people that aren't white. So if you want to advance your career, you know, Trump is going to be great for that. You know, the white people are going to be virtue signaling. And having lived through a period where, like, I did everything I could to support the left, or whatever it's become, the sort of queer, you know, bi POC left, I don't really feel, like, ingratiated with them. I feel like I haven't really been welcomed, or, like, I don't feel like a part of that. You know, I feel like it's a certain kind of like sacrifice or something that I have to make to like do the right thing. That's just, there's never appreciation. There's never like a point where it ends. And so they don't want you in, you know, this is why men are going to the Republican Party, because they're not wanted. And so what are they supposed to do? They go to find a place where they're fucking wanted in this cult of fucking the red hats. Because they get to say, you know, they get to be fucking trolls and make fun of people and do what they've always done. Just have kind of like South Park humor. You know, Trump is like South Park humor. The Democrats are just completely boring. It's just like this lecture. You know, it's just like this endless fucking like, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. You have to sacrifice, you know. You have to do your part, you know. It's your fault for climate change, for race relate. You know, you have to do, you know, I'm already seeing posts about, okay, white people, here's how you be anti-colonialist. It's like, fuck you. I'm not doing it again. You know, I don't think it works. The best thing you can do is flower as a person. You know, you need to express your DNA and your talents to the max. And you can't repress yourself, and you can't try to be like, well, I'm a bad person because I'm X, Y, or Z identity category, or I'm a good person because I'm X, Y, or Z identity category. And the Democrats and the left should not try to motivate people in that way. It doesn't work. You cannot motivate people by shaming them and discouraging them. It's harmful. You know, you have to encourage people to become the best versions of themselves they can be. And it's better for everybody if we all get to realize our talents and our abilities, you know? And so it's a bad idea, and this is honestly probably part of the reason why Trump got reelected. If you look at the demographics, it's because like the Democrats just think they can get away with telling half the population that they're just inherently bad and they're the problem. It's like you're not going to win anybody with that. You know, men are already not really Democratic sympathetic. They're already kind of right-leaning because they're selfish and they're macho and they like guns and they're violent. They like strong, you know, strong. I mean, Philip had great advice. I watched the election with Philip last night. It was a real bummer. In Rockefeller Center, surrounded by MAGA red hat fucking pricks. Thugs. And he said just get to work, you know, make art. That's all we can do. You know, I think the worst thing that we can do is let this, like, rule our lives. I think that was a mistake. The first time around, the fact that we let it define us, we let it completely change and knock our own, whatever our own path was, off course. I mean, I think it did cause a lot of conversation that needed to happen. You know, there was a lot of racial reckoning and gender, you know, there is like more progressive world in a lot of ways. You know, a lot more people are represented, and that's a good thing. But it's not the only thing, and we need a bigger strategy going forward that includes every fucking buddy and doesn't exclude people and talks to poor people. You know, the Democrats don't really talk about class at all. It's just more boutique, professional, managerial, white-collar, well-educated, like, guilt identity politics. Like, that's not... It works with, like, white people who have good jobs and people who work at universities and shit. What about working class? What about service class? Trump said he's going to not tax people's tips. That's pretty crazy. You know, as somebody who worked in restaurants, that's a huge thing. You could make a lot more money in a service economy now. I'm not saying that, like, wow, what a great, but it's like that's a policy where he's throwing a bone to, like, working people. You know, I mean, Kamala, I think, kind of stole that policy or, like, sort of copied it or something, or I'm not sure who came up with it. Maybe he fucking copied it. But for whatever reason, it's just like they're not speaking to those people, you know? And the migrant thing is another thing that's like, it's a very real, I mean, maybe it is like created by right-wing fucking psychos. But it's like, dude, I live in New York City. It's like, it's real. Like, you can't walk around the city and not see that there's like thousands of fucking new people that live here. And like, you know, there has to be a fucking plan, you know? Maybe it's the Republicans' fault for just like dumping those people into the cities, but it's like, and maybe that is just like a right-wing talking point. I don't know. Like I said, I walk around the city and I fucking see it with my own eyes. So it doesn't seem like some far-off thing to me. That's just fake news. I mean, here's what it really boils down to. Philip had the smartest thing, which is like, people think that a vote for Trump is a vote that's going to magically take them back to the pre-pandemic world. And it's just not. You know, people associate Trump with like a better time in their lives when they could afford an apartment, when they could afford groceries, when inflation, it's Jimmy Carter, man. It's Jimmy Carter all over again. It's inflation, you know? It's a one-term president because of runaway inflation. The American consumer, you know, we see, oh, the economy's doing great. It's like, it doesn't feel great. It feels like we're in a fucking Great Depression because you can't afford a place to live. You can't afford fucking groceries or anything, gas, whatever. And so I think it really is that fucking simple, you know? People are upset that they have to pay money for, pay more money for everything. And they think a vote for Trump is going to magically take them back to like 2017 or something. And it's just not. Trump is going to make it a lot worse. The inflation is going to go berserk. The Democrats have actually kind of got it under control. We haven't fully experienced the effects of that, but it has been tamped down to 2% or whatever. I really think it's that fucking simple. It's like, to be honest, it's almost like George Bush, the first one. It's like the Democrats didn't go far enough. The reason why George W. Bush got reelected is because he went the distance on those fucking wars. The first Bush, the war was over real fast before his reelection. I think it's the same thing with Biden. Honestly, this is going to sound insane, but it's like Biden probably would have had a better chance. He probably would have gotten more votes because, with Campbell, it's almost like having an entirely new fucking candidate or something, whereas it's like the incumbent usually wins. Campbell is not really a fucking incumbent, she's just this kind of like person that came out of nowhere that we're just supposed to like, and nobody really knows who the fuck she is. And so it fits the same narrative that people have been telling about the DNC since fucking Hillary, which is that we want Bernie. The DNC just installs whoever the fuck they want. They don't care about who we want. They have their candidate who's corrupt, who's just part of the Pelosi lobbying Chuck Schumer Washington swamp. So Kamala's like, she's Black Hillary. I don't think wokeism has died. I don't think the Democrats are going to learn this lesson. I think it's just going to get more amped up. The answer is going to be more wokeism. There's going to be more hatred of like white people and men. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it won't get more extreme, but I don't think that the Democrats are going to learn the lesson at all. I don't think that. Even Obama. To be honest, even Obama was like sort of a woke criminal, right? Like, everybody thought when Obama got elected, he was going to be like Bernie Sanders. They thought, fuck, revolution, this Black Panther who hangs out with Bill Ayers is going to go to Washington and like be some radical leftist. And it's like, he was like Reagan. He drone stroked people. And so all the like radical left were like, what the fuck? We thought Obama was going to be like one of us, one of the yippies or whatever. And it's like, he's just a neo-lib or whatever, but he's black. So, that's progress. So, even though we look back at Obama as like this great president or maybe one of the better presidents or this or that, it's like, was it really that fucking different? I prefer the Democrats. I know that they're not perfect, but like, I know that like they're slightly liberal and they will like listen, like Obama. You're naive if you think Ralph Nader's going to be the fucking president, like it's just not going to happen. This country was founded by corporations and it's for corporations. It's for the business of America is business. And, even though the economy is solid and doing well, people do not see it that way. And so I don't think, wokeism is just another part of corporate control. It's a way of castrating the left. It prevents organization. It prevents unionization. It just says, oh, you're all different. And look, these people are the problem. It's white feminists or it's... And look at the men. Look at the bros. They don't give a fuck. They're all becoming bad stand-up comedians and they all want to go on Kill Tony, or they're all on Twitch. They have 10,000 fucking YouTube subscribers. Meanwhile, nobody's watching me. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that are playing into it. That's definitely part of it, but I don't think the media is going to talk about that. And I just don't think the left, that doesn't seem progressive for them to go, maybe wokeism isn't working. You know, like, that's like the core of the Democratic Party. But, like, I think they can't, as we see, like, they can't count on the youth vote, and they can't count on minorities of, to just vote for them just because they're supposed to. You know, the Democrats actually fight to improve people's quality of life and help poor people, you know? They don't talk about that. You know, it's just, what the fuck did Kamala even campaign on? You know, she sort of tried to disown the policies. You know, when Anderson Cooper asked her, what would you change about the last 4 years? She said, I think she said nothing, or what would you do differently or something? And it's like, people are not satisfied with the way things are. She's just going to go in and do, and granted, that is like a message problem. You know, the Democrats are always horrible about messaging. Trump is the king of fucking messaging. That's all he is. You know, he gets through to people. You know, the Democrats, is like, they're doing a great job. They can't seem to convince people of that. You know, this is a problem. This is something I was talking about with Philip last night. It's like, this is a problem I have with my own life. I face this my entire life. It's like, if you're a man, even if I'm like sure about something, people, I don't know. It's like, because I come across as like, you know, I'm not the most like overconfident, like Trump expressive person, you know, like, I definitely am intelligent enough to like understand the opposite side, or, you know, think that I might be wrong or something. And so a lot of times, you know, like, even though I'm sure that I believe, or like I'm right about something, a lot of times people will sort of look at me like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or like, I don't believe him. Like, the other night I was on the subway, and you have to transfer at Atlantic, and the Q train starts to go back to Manhattan, even though you want to go to Coney Island, before it reverses the other way. And there were people on the train when it started to go back to Manhattan that were like, what the fuck is going on? They were like scared. And I was like, you know, don't worry. You know, it goes that way, but then it goes back to Coney Island. I don't know why. And they didn't believe me. You know, these were women, and they looked at me like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. We're not really sure. You know, even though I've done this a few times, like, you know, like, I have firsthand experience, like, I'm pretty sure, but even in my own heart, I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is going back to Manhattan, you know? It's like, to me, that's the Democrats. It's like, they do know what they're doing. They do know what they're talking about, but, like, for some reason, just like it doesn't resonate with people. People are not, they're not persuaded. You know, they don't trust them. Like Trump. You know, Trump can lie his fucking ass off. He's a fucking felon. You know, he did January 6th. And yet, you know, people just can't quit him. He's like the most toxic fucking best sex of your life. You know, he just mind fucks this country. And people that are prone to, like, wanting a daddy to save them want him to save them. You know, they buy the strongman thing. They buy, you know, I remember being in 7th grade, and we were doing some kind of trivia thing in class, and it was like 2 teams. And I was always good at trivia. I was always like, you know, exceptionally like the #1 person at trivia. Way better than everybody else, you know? And there was this guy, David Hoffman, who's sort of a loudmouth. I mean, he's dead now. Rest in peace, David Hoffman. He died in a car crash. But, like, he was like, you know, a popular, confident, kind of bully. He would have been a Trumper, probably. And he was like a cool guy. He was good with women. He was good looking. He had like a fresh vibe. But like he was kind of like a prick who was confident and full of himself, you know? And we're doing this trivia. And I remember they asked some fucking question. I don't remember what it was. But I knew the answer. And I said the answer. And David Hoffman kind of looks at me. And he's just like, no, Proctor doesn't know what he's talking about. And he said something else and they were wrong. And I was right. And it's like, you know, just because I didn't have the confidence to like sell it to them, and it's like he died. You know, nothing. I don't mean to use like it's horrible what happened to David Hoffman, but it's like a lot of what people think is confidence, and like, you know, that's what a confidence man is. That's their job, is to make you feel like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy's like really full of confidence, even though he's lying out of his ass. He's just making it up, like the fucking Music Man. Like fucking Robert, whatever his name is. And it's like, I'm not like that. You know, I'm not gonna just like, in fact, even when I know that I'm right, a lot of times there will be self-doubt. And I feel like that's kind of how liberals are. You know, that's why a lot of men identify with Republicans. They just like that bravado and that aura of confidence. And the parties have become completely split gender-wise. And I don't know that maybe it will. Maybe Morning Joe will go on and start talking about, hey, maybe woke politics is not working, or maybe, you know, it's just like, you know, they don't, and this includes the corporate media, is they don't want a working class narrative. They don't want unions. They don't want organization. And woke politics is like a part of that. You know, this is why Home Depot wants you to take, like, acknowledge your privilege and shit. If you're a white person, you need to, like, apologize to all your fucking coworkers because you're like, your life is so much better than theirs. And it's just like, I don't know, the Democrats, like, they try to institute some kind of fairness, and it's like, life is not fair. You know, the Republicans are the party that sort of acknowledges that, you know? Yeah. The shift will have to come. I mean, I'm interested to go into work tonight. You know, I'm going into work at an organization which will remain nameless, and I'm interested to see what their reaction is going to be, because it's a very woke place. And is it going to be one of unity and organization, or is it going to be one of panic and finger pointing and blaming white men and, you know, land acknowledgements? Fake land acknowledgements from rich. The thing I can't stand about land acknowledgements, it's coming from rich people. You know, New York is full of these extremely privileged people who are the only ones who can afford to go to NYU or the New School or Pratt or whatever. And so they have these extremely expensive educations which allow them to be a part of the elitist woke club. And so they want to give us a land acknowledgement. It's like, dude, your parents own everything. I know you're trans and shit, just like Elon Musk's kid, as a way to say fuck you to your, like, ultra-capitalist right-wing parents. But, like, some of us are working class, and some of us, like, have to earn our fucking way here. And, like, we're few and far between. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Panic reaction is so played out. I'm already starting to see it, you know, because a lot of people were empowered. You know, a lot of people on the left did get kind of an uncalibrated amount, in an unprecedented amount of, like, attention and support out of nowhere because people felt guilty. It's uppity. Exactly. It's uppity. That's un-American. It's un-American to be uppity. It's ingrained in us that life sucks. And we're all, just trying to get through it together by our fucking elbow grease or whatever. What's it going to do for stand-up comedy? Is comedy going to go back into the, whoa, you can't say anything anymore? I mean, like I said, for me, it's like I'm getting older. I tried to play ball the first time. They didn't want to include me. I've just been treated like shit by the left, to be honest. And so I don't feel like the need to, I'd love to read bell hooks and shit like that, or of course, Angela Davis and Audre Lorde and things like these are essential, a part of literature and part of the canon and a part of our politics and a part of our world. But there's also a lot of opportunists, and it's just a lot of hot air, a lot of it. And it's a lot of careerism and a lot of bad poetry. I'm anticipating a resurgence of bad poetry. I don't know. I don't expect a lot of poets are going to start to talk about the economy. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to amp up the rhetoric about whiteness. I think that's like their solution, is like white people bad. And to be honest, I think that's a boogeyman in a way. Like Austin, yeah, I saw somebody had a meme. The Austin comedy scene now runs the free world. Is Tony Hinchcliffe going to get a cabinet position? That's what I wonder. Tony Hinchcliffe for Secretary of Roasting. Secretary of Racism. We're going to get rid of the Department of Education. We're creating a Department of Racism. I mean, but to be honest, Biden installed a race czar. I'm really wound up today. Well, I don't know. Anytime I'm like sober. I don't know. Maybe this is all premature. Yeah, the comedy czar. Andrew Dice Clay, the comedy czar. Dana White, Secretary of fucking Mixed Martial Arts. Secretary of Defense, Dana White. Oh, I can't wait to see what Trump does with the good generals. He's going to fire all the media lib generals. Get to the good generals, the real homicidal, bloodthirsty American white-blooded. You think I'm wound up today with my anti-woke? I blame woke. Not really. I mean, I don't... It's just the fickleness of the American public, and like I said, it's a messaging thing. The Democrats, they're not good at TikTok. They're not good at YouTube. The Republicans, it's I haven't talked to Ashley yet. I'll see her shortly. The Republicans have all this Peter Thiel money, right? Like Peter Thiel is pulling the strings. He's dumping tons of money into fucking YouTube, into fucking social media, into Dime Square, into fucking Red Scare. There's a reason why Tim Dillon has fucking J.D. Vance on. And why Theo Vaughn has got fucking J.D. Vance on. I mean, did Theo Vaughn have Kamala? Like Rogan has got way, way, way fucking more viewers than the goddamn NBC Nightly News. And, this good night and good luck act, it just does not work. This leftist Hollywood sanctimonious, like self-righteous, like Edward R. Murrow, George Clooney, like Obama, Springsteen, Larry David, like it just does not fucking work. I mean, the whole last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm was about the election. And being a fucking lib.
I mean, one thing I think you can't say, you know, I mean, and I know this is going to sound nuts, but you know, the right wing is super conspiracy theorists, but I'm not totally convinced the numbers are real. But if they are, I don't think you can say that it's just like, you know, white people in swing states or Rust Belt people or whatever. You know, it's like Puerto Rican people in Pennsylvania who were supposed to be so incensed about Tony Hinchcliffe. You know, it's like they voted for fucking Trump. You know, people across the he won every swing state. And not by like a little bit, you know, by like a few percentage points. Like it was not close. And the Democrats, they ran the same campaign they always run. It's like, we'll get a bunch of fucking celebrities, get Beyonce, we'll go to Georgia with Beyonce, and we'll send celebrities everywhere. We'll send Adam Brody to Wisconsin. And the fucking it's condescending to the people in middle America who have found their voice through social media. You know, that wasn't the case. The legacy media had a chokehold and a monopoly, frankly, and they have this elitist coastal view of like, it's our job to like, we're NBC News, we're Edward R. Murrow, you know, we're CNN, I'm fucking Don Lemon, or I'm Van Jones or whatever. I'm supposed to like be this like superhero of anti-racism and like American like values and like, you know, the righteousness of like the free world. And it's like, people see through that now. The people in the flyover states feel abandoned, and dude, I'm from Ohio. I'm not surprised. You know, I've been hearing about JD fucking Vance forever. I'm not surprised, you know. The first time it was a shock because you're like, how could America do this? How could America elect this fascist racist? It's like, we saw him as the president for 4 years. How racist was it? Granted, he tried to ban Muslims. But how racist was it really? You know, apparently Obama deported more people. And Biden deported more people. You know? So, you know, to some degree, I think the media is not characterizing him in the right way. You know, they think racist, racist, racist. We were brought up watching Steven Spielberg movies and Roots and shit in school. They taught us critical race theory. I mean, that's one reason why the Republicans want to get rid of that shit, because it's a way of, you know, priming people to be Democrats, I guess, or that's what the Democrats think. You know, if we just instill it into all the white people that they're racists and when they're in school and shit, then they'll be for us. But I don't know. I mean, their platform, it's like it's a hyper version of the abortion issue where like they let the Republicans set the agenda and they have the like their position. It's like, what do the Democrats represent? Like trans bathrooms? Like, what do they represent? Like Chappell Rowan? Like, when I think of the Democrats, I don't think of like being able to afford an apartment. Price fixing, you know, that's what the real left would do. You know, if there was a real left, they would institute like price controls. They would go after the price gouging. They would go after the fucking real estate monopolies. I mean, granted, they're working with an uncooperative government. You know, the Supreme Court, the Senate, whatever. Trump's got the whole fucking government. He's got the House, he's got the Senate, he's got the Supreme Court. He's got JD Vance. Oh my God, I'm so pissed that JD Vance gets to be the vice president. America is so fucking inside out. It's so fucking turned inside out. We're living in the fucking bizarro world. But, you know, to be honest, I'm not going to let it bother me. As ridiculous as that sounds, I think that's the greatest, like, resistance. You know, in a certain way, I think the resistance only added fuel to the fire. It's just it's a polarity. The thing about Trump is, like, he's polarizing, which means, okay, you're alienating some people, but, like, you're also creating, like, a lot of people who are, like, really into it. And that's only gotten stronger. And, like, the Democrats don't have a similar, energy. They don't have that power. They don't have the power to create that feeling in people. Like, Trump is creating a lot of feeling, And for better or for worse, like, our politics a lot of the time is decided on, like, feeling and gut feeling. And, like, Trump he was on TV. He's a fucking, magician. He's a dark magician. But what he's practicing is not unfamiliar. He's Bill the Butcher. He's a nativist. He's a strong man. And, it's going to sound insane, but is he as bad as, we're being led to? Is he Adolf Hitler? Like, I mean, the pandemic was a million people died in the pandemic, but, like, we don't want to find out, but like I said, I think the best thing you can do is just, like, I feel like the lesson that I've learned is that, like, I'm like a loner, and I'm a stronger when I just operate from my own point of view. Like, rather than, everybody's suddenly an expert in woke politics or anti-colonialist or anti-white supremacy. It's just like you have to work from your own point of view. It doesn't help to, like, sign on to these super broad, like, okay, I'm just gonna put myself in the hands of these people that, like, maybe don't know what they're talking about. I mean, they clearly don't. They lost the fucking election by, like, a lot. And it hasn't done me any good anyway. Their whole politics is based on, like, I'm the bad guy, which, in 2016, that was a new narrative. White guys had been living in the kind of privilege bubble our whole lives. And there was some truth to the narrative, maybe, that, like, there's parity, or maybe we even have a leg up in the workplace, or this or that. Women are oppressed. 8 years later, it doesn't really feel that way. It doesn't feel like, we're just, like, killing it, and, like, we're in control, and women are, they've, a lot of people have gotten ahead because of fucking the swing to just platform underrepresented voices. And like I said, that is progress. That was important. That was an important historical moment. But I think we need to, like, it's like thesis, antithesis, synthesis, right? The thesis being, I don't know, typical liberal, politics, working class, whatever, typical Democrat platform, status quo, Hillary Clinton's, whatever, slightly right of center. Antithesis being, like, woke politics, the reaction in the wake of 2016, where it's like, all of a sudden, no, it's going to be entirely about who you are, what identity category you're in. White supremacy is why we're in this mess. Fascism has come to America because of white men, because of cis hetero white men. Whereas, like, now it's like we need a synthesis. It's like We need like a hybrid, you know? We need representation. We need to platform diversity. We need to, but there also needs to be unity and peace and economic, you know, like in a certain way, the government is like the biggest. Ashley is definitely upset by the results. Okay. In a certain way, the government is like the biggest union or something. You know, it's a way that, you know, we protect ourselves from private enterprise. You know, what we're really seeing in a certain way is a battle between the government and private enterprise. You know, the Republican Party, that's basically what they represent, is private enterprise. Deregulation, getting rid of fucking taxes, privatizing everything, while you know, offloading the debt to the public by deficit spending, getting rich by using the U.S. government as sort of collateral to take out shitloads of loans and make themselves rich through public, you know, stealing the public's money, basically. Which is what the Republicans do, not the Democrats. You know, that's typically the Republicans are the kings of deficit spending. Even those people have gotten it in their heads that like the Democrats are like the tax and spend. The Republicans spend way fucking more money. Whereas like the Democrats, like there's some, or at least they should be. You know, I think this is part of the problem, is that they are not actually the party of good government, right? People just look at the government as, oh, it doesn't work anymore. We're upset. We're mad. We're not making money. I can't afford to buy a house. I can't afford that. What? I'm pissed. The government's not doing anything. Fuck them. I don't want to pay taxes to this thing that like isn't helping me and like is just starting wars and but it's like the government can be an equalizer where like it's a way of making sure that the underclass is fairly taken care of and that the overclass compensates the body politic for the resources that they use. You know, it would be nice if we could outgrow this era of capitalism and owners and proletariat, because that is just sort of like a more nuanced form of slavery, where like there's always going to be people that have more because they're strong men, master slave, boss people around. They'll dom people, they'll tell them what to do, they'll scare them into being subservient, they'll give them no choice. I mean, I heard an interesting point about you got to be fooling yourself if you think the cost of housing is going to go down because Trump is going to deport, you know, like millions of fucking people his first day, supposedly. It's like, who the fuck do you think is going to build the houses? Who do you think is the low-cost labor, you know, who's going to build the fucking low-income housing? It's like, it's illegal migrants who go to the fucking Home Depot parking lot and work for $5 an hour and who are skilled tradespeople. It's not a bunch of white people who want to write poetry. So the cost of housing will probably go up. Let you know what? What do you want to know? It's hot out. I mean, it's going to go down to 60 degrees, so you probably want to bring some kind of like shirt or something, but it literally feels like summertime right now. That global warming, it's that nice global warming that we get to benefit from in exchange for our grandchildren getting to be alive. Fuck it. YOLO, baby. It's YOLO politics. And I don't know. The American people have been fooled into thinking that like private enterprise is better than government. And the Democrats are not good at like discouraging people of that or convincing them otherwise. Okay, Ashley, we'll see you very soon. What time? Okay, it's 5:13. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just hope that women don't hate us. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid it's going to go right back to 2016, 17, 18, where it's just like men are trash. Why couldn't they just shot him? Why do you have to turn his fucking head? It's that goddamn PowerPoint. So many things had to go wrong to get this guy reelected. Tony Hinchcliffe couldn't do it. The assassins couldn't do it. But like I said, I'm not going to let it bother me. That's not white. I mean, I'm sure it's going to make our lives worse. But, you know, living in a constant state of like being upset, panicked, chronically virtue signaling, feeling guilty, feeling shame, like it just doesn't, it's just bad for you. It doesn't do you any good. You have to work from a place of construction, positivity, creation. You know, you have to work from a place of creating things. You can't work from a place of I'm bad. I'm bad. Shame, shame, shame. And to be honest, like a lot of Democrats are naive about how the world works. I don't, you know, a lot of these white collar people, these educated people, it's like, what the fuck do they know about real life? You know? Okay, kisses Ashley. You know, it's like they've been in universities their whole life or whatever, cushy jobs. You know, it's like negotiating face to face with the world. It's rough out there. People behave in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect. You know, people behave in ways that are counterintuitive. And I don't know, life is like this magical process of intuition and feel. I'm not going to be lectured by you, Ashley. Fuck these fucking libtards. Fuck the academics, okay? They're cowards. They don't know fucking shit. They're the ones who thought Kamala was going to win in a landslide. They have no fucking real life experience. They have no real world experience. They think because they worked some fucking job when they were 20 or something that they like know about life. It's like, why don't you go win some more fucking grant money, you cocksuckers? I'll be on YouTube speaking to my extremely small minority of disenfranchised liberal bros. Ashley, you're 24. You don't know anything. It's Gen Z idiots that elected this guy. Gen Z voted more for Trump than, like, historically precedented. I think that's something we have to talk about. You know, we want to talk about Gen Z like they're all fucking, like, these extremely left-wing radicals or something. It's like there's just as many, like, MAGA bros. Okay, Ashley, settle down. Settle the fuck down. I mean, Barron Trump goes to NYU. Okay? So, these people live among us. I mean, Brooklyn is the left-wing bubble. Brooklyn is probably just going to get more entrenched in its own bullshit. Ashley has real life experience, okay? I'm acknowledging that publicly. You're still young. You know, you haven't been pampered for 50 fucking years or 30 years like all these academics, you know? They're disconnected. They live in their own little fucking bubble where I saw this thing today. Canterbury University in England got rid of its English major due to lack of interest. Canterbury University, home of the Canterbury Tales. Now, maybe this is just because I read Drudge Report, but the humanities are dying. And literacy is dying. And that's one reason why Trump got fucking reelected. It's a big reason. Because there's a lot of stupid fucking people out there who are alienated, frankly, by academics. Because it's more just guilt trip. You know, why? I don't want to read, you know, literature because it's some lecture about racism or something. You know, I want to read literature because it's a story about life. Blamed it on incels. There you go. See, women are going to blame men. It's not fucking incels. Calling them incels is only going to make it worse. You know, these are people that need help. They all think they're the fucking Joker. You know, this is one reason why I'm sympathetic to stand-up comedians and why I'm, like, trying to get into that space, because it's like that's where these fucking clowns are. And women and people who are scared want to turn their backs and act like they are the fucking problem. And they are the fucking problem, but it's like we're all goddamn human beings, you know? That's one thing about the left discourse and woke discourse, is it's not about unity. It's not about, hey, we're all one people. It's not about one love. And granted, like, Trump doesn't make it easy. But whatever happened to, like, love thy enemy? You know, we have to rehabilitate these people. The reason why they're fucking incels is because they've been told for the last 8 years that they're fucking pieces of shit. And women hate them. So they're all on fucking YouTube watching Theo Vaughn and Andrew Schultz. And fucking Tony Hinchcliffe. You know, fucking Kill Tony's got 15 million views and shit. I don't think you're a piece of shit, Ashley. I don't blame anybody. I mean, if I was accepted by academia, I'd probably love it. I'd love it if I just got fast-tracked to fucking tenure and shit. But it's also like, that's not good. You know, it's like, that's one reason why I like doing the open mic. Because it's like, I'm in the fucking real world, right? I was listening to Lou Reed, Songs for Drilla, Starlight Open Wide. We're making movies from the street. We're making movies from the street. You know, The Factory was not a bunch of fucking academics. It was a bunch of transvestites, and they had a place they could gather because Andy Warhol was a corporate shill who drew fucking designer shoes. And then he just tweaked his art slightly and became, you know, the apotheosis, what's the word, of capitalist art. And okay, Ashley, you're great. You're my hero, Ashley, okay? Now the only place to be an artist is in a university. You know, that's why everybody gets a fucking MFA. Because that's literally the only place you can even afford to feed yourself. Or hope to, you know, have a place to live that's not with your fucking parents or something. And that's why everybody has to sign this, like, fucking loyalty oath. Because those people are ambitious and they want those jobs. because they don't want to make movies from the street. You got to get along with all kinds of people. Exactly. You know, I don't agree, you know, with a lot of these fucking stand-up comedians, but like, you know, the poetry world, like, doesn't want you. You know, basically, from 2016 to 2020, there was like a moratorium on white guys. And I know this just sounds pathetic to talk about, but that's my point of view. I mean, what do you expect? And we did it, you know? Did it help? Did Trump get reelected because we let white guys back in? We let white guys back into the party? Now we're going to go right back to sleeping on the couch, everybody. White men of the United States, get ready to sleep on the couch for the next 4 to indefinite amount of years. Until Trump dies, probably. Hey, I got an idea, okay? Here's what we're going to do. January 6th, okay? All the Democrats, all the libtards, all the progressive, all the woke, all the pink hats, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. We're going to get Kamala to not validate the results of the election. We're going to take over the Capitol building, okay? We're going to hang, we're going to kill all the Republicans. Meet me on January 6th, okay, libtards? We're going to go to Washington, D.C. We're going to stop the steal. We're going to prevent them from validating the election results, okay? This is my plan. Everybody in my YouTube family, everybody at the open mic, we're going to meet me in Washington, D.C. January 6th, 2025. Bring your guns. Bring your pickup trucks. Bring your Kamala gear. Bring your dark Kamala gear. Bring your dark Gothic Kamala hats. We're going dark Gothic Kamala, okay? We're making movies in the street. Yeah, Ashley, we make movies in the street. I am acknowledging that, okay? I'm publicly acknowledging that I make movies in the street with Ashley. Now, Ashley, can you acknowledge that we're doing poetry January 6th? Poets, there's an open mic at the United States Capitol building, January 6th. You want your picture taken? Do you want an Instagram post about it yourself? Come to the Capitol building, January 6th. There's an open mic. We're going to stop this fucking dictatorship before it gets started. We're doing a beer hall put. Hey, if they did it, why can't we? Huh? Biden, help us out. Get the National Guard to, like, stand down or whatever. We want the same program that the MAGA people had. We want the VIP Capitol tour. I want to take a shit in Mitch McConnell's office. I'm going to be the Kamala shaman. I'm going to wear my bear pelt. I'm going to paint my face DNC colors. I'm going to paint my face rainbow colors for the DNC because we're a rainbow coalition. That lost the popular vote by 5 million. That's like the most crazy fucking part to me. Is like, that's why I'm like, is this real? This has got to be fake. Like 5 million? I mean, I understood when Trump won when he lost the popular vote. I'm kind of shocked that he won the popular vote by 5 million. But at the same time, like, you know, I think woke is like denial. You know, like it's a kind of denial that like these people exist. And it's, you know, you're trying to, it's exclusivity. It's not inclusive. And so it's pushing a lot of people that way. It's incels. It's Gen Z incels. Give an incel a blowjob, okay? Save democracy. Fucking incel, okay? Do you want to be able to have abortions or not? Do you want control of your own body? And if you're an incel, like, for the love of God, I mean, just, like, work on yourself. Like, start meditating. This is a difference, like, between me and, like, other men. I think it's a surprise to people, maybe, when they find out that I'm, like, so liberal. Contrary to the fact that I've spent the last 100 minutes, like, spewing anti-woke vitriol. Well, me, I'm a lifelong liberal. So for me to feel like, oh my God, I can't be a part of this, it's like, what do you think some fucking dude who plays Grand Theft Auto all day, he's not, I'm somebody that's like incredibly sympathetic to this. I spent the last 8 years just like subjugating myself out of, trying to do the right thing. A normal person is not going to put themselves through that. Men are already sympathetic to right-wing shit. They're already all part Scott Baio. I think that's part of masculinity in a fucked up way. So it's like, there hasn't been a conversation about masculinity, right? How do you be masculine and libtard? How do you be masculine and left-wing, woke? Not that they're mutually exclusive. But, MAGA is like this red meat. I will comfort you, Ashley, okay? This is just daddy. This is me chewing the players out after the game. What the fuck were you doing out there? You're embarrassing me. What the hell were you thinking? This is not gonna, we just lost the World Series. This is gonna motivate us for next time, okay? I'm not gonna be embarrassed like this next time. I'm chewing your ass out. 5 million votes. Oh yeah, but it's gonna be a landslide. Let's hide our head in the fucking sand, why don't we? Everything in our little academic bubble is utopian, woke, We're doing the right thing, Meanwhile, women can't have abortions. And we're about to, plunge headlong into full-on fascism. So I was with Philip last night. He texted Sparrow. He's like, I'm with Matt Proctor. Sparrow's response was, hi, Matt. Hello, Matt. Goodbye, democracy. Or at least it's simulacrum. We had a fake democracy anyway. I mean, I think that's been part of the, slow death of this country. Is just increased cynical rhetoric about our government and the fact that it's fake. And Kamala, completely reinforces that narrative where it's like nobody voted for this person and they didn't vote for him in the general election either. Who's fucking surprised? Why would we be surprised? I'm just hoping there's no fucking crystal knocked. The red hats are giving an increased brown shirt vibe. They're really jacked up today. They're super wanting to rub it in your face and kind of trying to scare you a little bit. Man, I had a chilling moment last night where I was in, because I was at 30 Rock and there's TVs on both ends and I'm watching the results, And, so I sort of turned away, getting ready to leave. And when I turn around, I look at this guy is staring at me and he's wearing a MAGA hat. He looked like fucking Himmler. He had this slithery kind of reptilian in his face. His eyes were super slit and his, he had this kind of ice cold, blue. He looked like an Indiana Jones, Nazi. And he's staring right at me. you know, with this look of like, yeah, motherfucker, that's right. He could feel that I was like completely deflated and defeated. And it was just this kind of chilling moment of like, this guy would kill me. You know, 5 years from now when Crystal Knock goes down or whatever, like, is this guy gonna like, you know, kill me somehow? And do it happily. Because I'm like a gay poet. You know, as a straight white male poet, I'm already like, you know, you're neither here nor there, you know? I hate MAGA like beyond, like anybody does, like any woke person does. You know, I'm just as like anti-fucking MAGA and Trump as anybody could possibly be. But I also just don't feel appreciated by the left. And I don't think any of the other incels do either. I mean, I basically lived my life as an incel for the last 8 years. My sex life, like, just plummeted when Trump got elected. Well, I got into a relationship, and then there was the pandemic, so nobody got laid. I got out of my relationship at the exact worst time before a global pandemic where you're not allowed to be within 6 foot of another human being for the first time ever in human civilization. So that was another 2 years of incel. We were all fucking incels, you know? Judge not lest ye be judged, okay? Whatever happened to fucking, to that? Let's not let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I think that's one way these people are able to accept Trump. So they recognize they're sinners too, you know? We're all sinners. Nobody is, you know, the Democratic point of view kind of presumes that you're holier than thou. You're a better person than the basket of deplorables or the garbage, right? That's why Trump was driving a garbage truck. You know, and wokeness is sort of a version of that. It's like there are people that are better than others or something. Not that it's not rooted in like historical tragedy and like unforgivable racial crimes. And so it's, you know, it's a way of trying to reckon with that, you know. That's why it's part of the new, it's an essential part of the new everything. You know, I'm not saying that it's like, it's not a bad thing. You know, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that it's a little reductionist. And there's tons and tons of people that are incredibly self-righteous on social media and in real life because they think they're fighting Nazis. Which is an incredibly self-righteous thing to think about yourself. I think we need to, you're just empowering them with that narrative. You know, you're giving them more power because you're completely defining yourself in relation to them. It's completely reactionary. Oh, Trump got elected, so now all of a sudden, whoa, hey, I'm not racist. Look how not racist I am. All the time, every day. I didn't give a fuck about politics 5 minutes ago, but you know, I've been through enough elections. You know, if I was younger, it would affect me more because it is, you get, like I said, a tolerance. I really volunteered a lot for the John Kerry campaign in 2004. I was very idealistic. It was my first election to be able to vote as an adult. I couldn't vote in 2000, right? When Bush stole it, which ruined all of our lives. So I was going to do whatever I could in the swing state of Ohio to try to help. But once again, John Kerry was a completely unremarkable candidate. He had no charisma whatsoever. He was totally unpersuasive and weird on TV. I don't know what made us think he ever had a fucking prayer. You know, Obama he created a movement that won him legitimately the nomination. His speech at the convention in 2004, a star was born that night. People saw that speech and they said, that guy's the next president. They said, who is this guy? Nobody knew who he was. And they said, who the fuck is this guy? And lo and behold, he was the next fucking president. John Kerry was not like that. He was just some fucking guy because of the Howard Dean scream who won the nomination. It's like nobody was that stoked about it. But I volunteered. I went door to door. I canvassed. It was eye-opening to learn, first, just how aware people are of politics. People know way less about politics and the government than you would expect. And that includes people in bad neighborhoods who are supposed to be Democrats. They don't know shit. They don't even know who the fucking president is. You know, I went to people in 2004 trying to register voters in like a ghetto neighborhood. And I got this guy to sign to register to vote, to pledge to vote for John Kerry. And he was like, yeah, man, we got to get that Clinton out of office. It's like he didn't even know who the fucking president was. He thought Bill Clinton was the president. It's like, that's a lot of this country. But they know who fucking Donald Trump is. Because his whole life he's been in fucking Pepsi commercials and Home Alone 2 and fucking The Apprentice and up the media's ass. Learning how to be good on TV. And so he won. It's like he moved people. He created a reason for them to vote for him. He created an urge. It's like that's your job in anything. As an entertainer, as an artist, you have to make something happen in people. If you do that, they will follow you. They will buy your shit, you know? You can feel that happen. As somebody on stage, you can feel that moment when you sell your book to people. When you come off stage and people go, I gotta have this guy's book. You know, if you did your job right, they're gonna be like, I wanna hear that song again. I wanna buy this guy's book. I want a piece of that feeling that I had. That's like a MAGA hat. You know, MAGA hat makes people go, ha ha ha. So they want one. Because they want to feel a part of something. There was something I was just talking about that I wanted to make a point about. Oh yeah, the election in 2004. So, okay, I got 20% battery, so I'll do, you know, probably 15 or 20 more minutes. The election in 2004, I volunteered a lot. I was on the ground, you know, I fucking... And went door to door. I called people, you know, I went to DNC headquarters. I fucking called people. That was pointless. A lot of what I did was pointless. It was like, you know, it was polling and shit. And even then it was like, this doesn't work. I don't know why Democrats are so invested, because they believe statistics and facts and shit. So it's like they want all this data. It's like the way they were doing it was not working, but they didn't seem to care. And that was like what, you know, as a volunteer, that was what they thought was valuable for me to do. Whereas, like, it's probably more valuable to fucking make TikToks or something now, you know? To fucking live stream, honestly. It's probably more valuable to be on fucking Twitch. But, you know, all the guys out playing Xbox, they don't want to listen to fucking poetry libtard. They want, you know, Theo Vaughn, hillbilly... Joe Dirt edgelord. Soulful edgelord. Who's like them. You know, the face tattoo has been normalized, you know. Most of America has face tattoos now. Most of America is on crystal meth and they have face tattoos. So Donald Trump is their president. You know, Post Malone. Look at Post Malone. and how that's been fucking normalized. Oh, Posty. We love Posty. So Donald Trump is like kind of a normal fucking politician at this point. You know, we're so overstimulated, over fucking, you know, on drugs. And, you know, I went into election night with high hopes. I voted for John Kerry in Gahanna, Ohio. And I met, you know, I went to the DNC headquarters downtown Columbus. Jerry Springer was there. I met Chuck D. Chuck D was the only cool, famous person I've ever met to this day. He was so cool. You know, there was nothing weird about it at all. The guy was so nice and fucking cool. And every celebrity I've ever met since has been an asshole, including Al Franken, Wallace Shawn, every poet I've met. And so I went to the DNC headquarters downtown Columbus. I was young, you know, I was 19.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yo.
Yo, we outside, man.
That's right. We're doing it.
Where you from, man?
I'm from Ohio.
Yo, we got dudes,
Nice, man. Yeah, of course I do.
we got drink here, bro. So
Yes.
What we got here?
What do you got?
We got all different flavors. Sativas,
All right.
indicas, hybrids,
Nice.
lows, hybrids.
How much?
All different prices, 20, 25, 30.
Okay.
40.
I have weed right now,
Next time.
but I will come back. I'll definitely come back.
Get them on.
All right, man. Thank you. Hell yeah. That was nice of him. I didn't know. So good. This is good. Is this Trump's America? People are free to sell weed again? Is he going to restore our freedom to sell weed in Washington Square Park? Because if so, I'm okay with that. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know which way is up, to the point that's like, you know, maybe fucking the left wing was like the police state, make everything suck. You know, who the fuck knows? You know, Trump, I think it's wrong to portray him as any one particular thing, because I do think that he's shown that he's willing to, you know, just have uncharacteristic positions in a lot of different ways. You know, like Lil Wayne fucking endorsed Trump, you know, and shit. So it's like, he's, you know, maybe he will have fucking sort of, I guess that's stupid as hell, because they outlawed abortion, for Christ's sake. I didn't mean to cut that guy off, but I was kind of in the middle of a story. It was nice of the guy to talk to me, but I didn't want to miss the middle of the fucking story, which was like, okay, so I volunteer for the DNC. I go downtown. I'm in election headquarters downtown. You know, there's all these fucking, it's in the Hyatt. You know, it's like this nice fucking hotel. They've got a big ballroom and shit, and balloons, and you know, big TV screens. This nice lobby. Fucking Jerry Springer's in the lobby getting interviewed by like the national news and shit, because it's a swing state in 2004, and Columbus could maybe swing the election. Oh, who knows? There might be enough Democratic voters to swing the election in Columbus. That's why I campaigned so hard, because I was like, I could maybe influence this. We're in Columbus. We're in a swing state. If Kerry wins Ohio, you know, fuck. Maybe we'll get Bush out of office, for fuck's sake. We all know how that turned out. But we did get Obama, so, you know, you live long enough, you start to see that it swings back and forth, and 4 years is not that long of a time, to be honest. There's only so much fucking damage they can do. You know, the government is rooted in there pretty fucking deeply. I know this all sounds crazy, considering this guy is going to be above the law, and the Supreme Court is going to be in his pocket, and he's going to go after his political enemies and blah, blah, blah. But look, I don't know. I mean, Bush really fucked this country up, and we lived through that. And Obama got elected, and that was awesome. And then we had Trump, and we lived through that. But then Biden got elected, and that was a nice fucking time. And it's like life goes on. And you win some and you fucking lose some. You're never going to win every time. It's just not going to happen. It never has and it never will. And that's part of fucking democracy. And, so this first election, it's easy to get like really fucking depressed and down about it. And thinking apocalyptically and this and that. And, I guess it's part of the hype and the narrative. That's how they try to motivate us to vote, is by getting us thinking that way, that it's the most important election in our lives, and we're all going to die if we don't, do the right thing and vote for the candidate they force down our throats we don't like, or we'll die, or best case scenario, be racist. But, walking into and we've been listening, I've been driving around all day with my friends. All my friends volunteered for the campaign. My high school friends, Luke and fucking Jake and Seth, and we're driving all over fucking town in my dad's minivan, like trying to do last minute help out at the polls or whatever. Anything we could fucking do, We're listening to the goddamn early results on the fucking radio. This was before smartphones and shit. 2004. And, it was my first taste of like what it's like in an election night headquarters when you lose. When your party loses, And like I said last night, it's about the worst vibe there is. There's no bigger downer. I mean, it's worse than like when your sports team loses, because it's just like, oh my God, like this is going to destroy our lives. We're going to lose freedom. This is going to cause human suffering. There's going to be war. There's going to be death. Like with George W. Bush, that's really a lot of people died. There were a lot of people were mangled. A lot of people's lives were ruined because of that guy. I know people don't look at it. That's the other thing that's amazing to me. Is like nobody in this country seems to have a memory at all whatsoever. They think Obama and Clinton are like the war criminals. And Bush is just like this sort of good painter. People do not remember anything. They misattribute who did what pretty much exclusively. They don't remember anything. The American people can be persuaded of anything. That you can just write whatever narrative over, like Obama drone struck everybody and he's a fucking war criminal. And he bailed out the banks and blah, blah, blah. Which is not true. And so, there's all these balloons all over the floor. The place is silent. It wasn't as bad as, but like I said, I was 19, so it was my first time with that. Where it's like, oh my God, like we lost, like fuck. 4 more years of Bush. How the fuck are we going to do this? How could people vote for this guy? After 9/11, after the wars, after all the fucking lies and the fucking WMD shit, we're going to re-elect this guy. Like, how could anybody vote for this guy? How could Tom Wolfe vote for this guy twice? Like, what is happening? That was my first experience with that. Being in fucking election day headquarters, balloons all over the floor. There's Chuck D over there giving sort of chilled out conciliatory interviews. No one is having a good time. The air has been completely sucked out of the room. All the balloons are on the floor. The confetti's on the floor. It's, the next 4 of our years of our lives are going to be terrible. But, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have gotten Obama. So, I don't know. And, it's like, it's an ongoing long thing. It can only affect in life there's ups and downs. And this is just another one of them. I mean, Trump is real bad. I mean, Philip told a great story because he was in, oh fuck, do I have my jacket? He was in Rockefeller Center in 2008 when Obama got elected. And he was saying just like what an unbelievable moment it was, you know, to be with all these people and all this jubilation. You know, the crowd was just so psyched about it, that Obama got elected. And it was just like, I actually was not out on the night Obama got elected. I'm kind of sad about that. I don't really know what that was like, actually. I was just at home at Jack's apartment in Clintonville, where I lived at the time. But, you know, Philip was sort of contrasting it. He was with his parents, and he sort of talked about it. He's like, it was sort of like the high watermark in a certain way of, I mean, maybe America? Was Obama's election like the top moment of America? What do you think in the comments? America's finest hour, Obama election night, 2008. You know, he was with his parents, and so it was just like this kind of like really nice kind of triumphant moment where, you know, last night, I'm on my way to work. Yeah, whereas like last night was like the antithesis. It was like this anti-celebration. A lot of people had just left, gone home early, I think. There were really no liberals. It was not a liberal vibe. There was an increasing amount of kind of thuggish, red-hatted, I don't know. They all just like are just like ugly, freaky, ogreish kind of people. You know, they all have like the worst kind of like priggish Republican, smarmy, like Tucker. One guy had a MAGA bucket hat. One guy was wearing like a Tam O'Shanter. You know, that's the worst thing about these election nights when they win. Seeing all the pictures of all the red-hatted, like, white fucking douchebags. Like, why should they be psyched? Why do they get the fucking victory? Just more victory. I'm near Indochine in the Blue Man Group and Raising Cane's, the finest New York culture has to offer. When you're at the public theater, you simply must dine out at Raising Cane's across the street. Time is it, by the way? 5:57. Yeah, so this is our eulogy for America. Eulogy for democracy. I don't know. I think we'll endure. Like I said, during his acceptance speech, he said 4 years is going to be a great 4 years. So it seems like he's accepting and acknowledging in, you know, oral agreement that it's going to be 4 years. But like I said, I think we should do January 6th. We'll just go there. We'll just stop it. We just stop the verification and we take over the government. You know? That's what we should do. Let's just not even let him get into office. We'll just go there and we'll take over the government. Yeah, the bad luck spot. I think you've drawn enough of these. I think it's working. I don't know. I guess, okay, I'm on 10%, so I'll make my closing remarks here. Gotta finish up here. You know, okay, so like the moral of the story is, you know, that first time that Bush won, Kerry lost. Okay. It was like disheartening, right? And it was like, you know, being dumped or something. It's like, oh my God, this is so fucking grim. And it did feel like that when Trump got elected in 2016. It felt like, oh, Jesus Christ. This is really bad. This is the end of the fucking world. And maybe we are on that fucking track. Maybe we are. Maybe this is Weimar America, right? I mean, they were doing cabaret this summer, right? I mean, up until Biden stepped down, I think we all were preparing for Trump to win. After that first debate, we were just like, fuck, it's over. We're going back to Trump hell. And then when Biden actually stepped down, there was like this sort of euphoria about, oh my God, we might win this thing. Or we'll definitely win this thing. You know, Kamala's young, he's old. He's old, he's talking about Hannibal Lecter. We got this. Then that's what I don't get. It's like, dude, he's old. I guess it's not about age. You know, Biden really was like, it was so obvious that, you know, he was infirm or whatever. Trump, it's like, he's definitely, you know, a little rambly and this and that, but he's still, you know, able to fucking hold a conversation and do his little rallies and shit, which I guess is all the voters needed to see. They'd rather have that, which is kind of a shock, you know, because it's almost like he was campaigning against Biden. He was always talking about Biden. Biden, he's old. It seemed like even he didn't think he could win. That's the crazy thing about this motherfucker. Is like you always sort of think he's done. And what did he say in the Apprentice movie? Never acknowledge that you lose. Never acknowledge. Always claim victory. So we just have to use that strategy. We have to stop the steal. We have to go January 6th to the Capitol building and take over the government, okay? This is my call to arms via YouTube. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, maybe that is the last election we'll ever have. I don't know. In a certain way, I'm not totally getting that vibe. You know, like we did get him out of office once. I don't even think the guy knows what he's going to do. You know, he kind of just playing it by ear. That's his style. And, getting all worked up about it, I think, was like the mistake of the first time. That's what made it, I mean, not that it wasn't horrible. And I think it was important to just like be as much of an activist as you could. But I mean, is that what's going to happen in the arts, for instance? Is it immediately going to become all performative activism again? You know, in a bunch of like pseudo-edgy, privileged trust fund kids, you know, performing like this kind of self-righteous, alienating, not inclusive finger pointing. I would say probably yes. I mean, the resistance was like every fucking thing. It really defined people's lives. And it defined art. Really, you know, until 2022 or something maybe. And it's still kind of the main thing, even though it's sort of chilled out a little bit. But, I don't know. I guess it'll be a part of everything going forward. Like it is now. I mean, to be honest, it never really stopped. You know, like most of the sort of hardcore like pseudo-leftist arts organizations have been very vocal about Palestine and all that. Colombia, right, the protests there. So it's not necessarily those spaces which have even changed. Where I work is like, it's been pretty much, it's not as much of like all activist programming all the time, but it's like, it's still been a part of every, it's of every other event or something. And it's sort of in the genetics of everything they do now. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm interested to see what people are thinking and what kind of formulates going forward. But like I said, maybe it's thesis, antithesis, synthesis. We need something new going forward. And this is, this is just how time works and culture works. It's like we try something for a little while. People go, oh, that didn't solve it. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to move it on to this other thing. What is it now? Oh, now we're going to do this. Oh, that didn't solve it either. It's like, oh, we're all going to be hippies, and we're going to, it's free love and peace, and oh, that didn't work. Okay, in the 70s, what are we going to do? We're going to be second wave feminism or black power and whatever it was in the 70s, Jimmy Carter. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, now everybody's a fucking Reaganite because it's the 80s. Oh, shit. Now we're doing that. Oh, that didn't work either. We want Clinton because my life sucks now because of Ronald Reagan. And so it was like, okay, I think this era will be different than 2016 to 2020. And I think, that's something even Trump, he didn't run the same campaign. Like when I saw his fucking thing with Barron on stage, when he came out to announce his victory or whatever, the person he had right by his side was Barron, right? Barron is 6'7". He's like Don Jr., Senior, but he's huge. And it's like, Barron's the one that got him in the manosphere. He's the one that's tapped into all these podcasts and shit in the young male incel type mindset. The people playing Xbox Live or people at comedy open mics. And so I'm seeing that and seeing fucking JD Vance. And I'm like, oh my God, it's MAGA the next generation. That's what I mean. It's like the way that they plan his campaign, they're using like, I don't know, business fucking, I don't know. They're just thinking about it in more of some kind of like long-term way, like a corporation would. It's like they're using that kind of cutthroat strategizing and analytics. I don't know what the fuck the DNC is using, but like it doesn't work. Whatever playbook they have just sucks. It's like this really antiquated, like boring political hayseed. Like, let's listen to James Carville some more. Let's listen to this fucking guy that won an election 30 plus years ago. Who just kind of seems like he's got, this backwater wisdom or something because he's got this crazy accent. He's been in Hollywood movies and shit. They're grooming this next generation of these little Donald Jr., Barron, JD Vance, Peter Thiel, sees all that shit. He wants all these fucking people to sort of like, okay, I have 10% left, so I think I might actually get off now. But I don't know. Yeah, I will be over here actually, so just let me know when you're in the area. And, okay, thank you guys for watching. It's our election eulogy. It's our eulogy for America. Our epitaph for democracy here. Rest in R.I.P. This imperialist, white supremacist, stolen country. See, the left hate this country too. They're all kind of on the same side. They might as well be MAGA people. They have the same fucking talking points. So, R.I.P. white supremacist stolen land. I guess we're on to this is only going to hurt a little, America. We just need to get through this. Apparently 2025 is supposed to be the craziest year of the century. They said it's the year of the century, so buckle up. We don't know what's going to happen. Civil War Part 2, I guess. Who's going to be our Abe Lincoln? Is it Elon Musk? I doubt it. Is he going to have what it takes to do the right thing when the time comes? I doubt it. All right, well, God bless you. God bless me. God bless everybody. Love your enemy. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, like in the Oval Office, I guess, with total executive power, total immunity. It's very bad, people. It's very bad, but we'll get through this. We'll just keep doing poetry open mics. You know, that's all we need. I look forward to 4 more years of even worse poetry, all about how I'm a bad person. So thank you for watching. God bless you. God bless America, everybody. Well, this is only the beginning of the post-election autopsy. America, what went wrong? Thank you guys for watching, and be safe out there, and just have a good time. You know, what the fuck? We did it once already. I know that's probably a dumbass way to look at it, but what the hell? Let's just have a fucking good time and love each other. You know, we all just have our own little micro communities in like cells of enlightenment and mutual aid and mutual support and stuff. And so that's going to become increasingly important, sort of like an underground railroad of culture. Maybe that's not the right metaphor to appropriate, but an underground rhizome and network of culture where we spread consciousness, spread ideas, change hearts and minds, everybody. We're changing hearts and minds. So here's to 2028. Let's start the campaign right now. I said it yesterday. I said yesterday in my live stream, we should start the campaign now for 28. So once again, I was ahead of the game. It was too close to call. We called it early. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night, you know? What the hell? Just don't pay any attention. It's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Just ignore it. It's not real. Just go into it. We'll watch West Wing reruns and Aaron Sorkin scripted left-wing neo-lib. We'll pretend that's the government. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Good night and good luck.